free after more than 2 years in a Russian prison.
Come to me, my little one.
They can hardly believe their luck. On August 1st, after years of waiting, they can finally hug each other again in Germany. Artist Sasha Skochilenko, her mother Nadezhda, and partner Sonia. A reunion made possible because of a prisoner swap between Russia and 5 Western countries.
When they brought us to the airport and I first saw a clear sky without prison bars, it was unbelievable. Everything was bathed in light.
Flashback to 2023. Sasha Skochilenko was in shock when a court sentenced her to 7 years in prison for criticizing Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The support of her friends were no help. Skochilenko was arrested for replacing price tags in a supermarket with stickers that said, "Stop the war," and "Putin is lying to us." Her supporters shout, "It's a disgrace."
I wanted to do everything in my power. I knew I wouldn't be able to stop the war that way, but I did it anyhow. Not for humankind, but for me, for my conscience. I couldn't stay silent.
It was an obvious show trial meant to discourage Russian anti-war protesters. The sentence was a scare tactic. Sasha's partner Sonia was devastated, but she refused to be intimidated. After the trial, Sasha's mother Nadezhda in Paris and Sonia in St. Petersburg fought for her release. We reported on the 2 women as they did.
Everyone understood that it was unjust. Even the war supporters were saying, "What? 7 years for 5 stickers?"
The first time I saw her in that cage, I was so outraged that I couldn't even breathe.
Many Russians who fled their country end up in Paris, including Nadezhda. They've been staging demonstrations to draw attention to the fate of Sasha and other political prisoners in Russia. Nadezhda met with EU politicians and activists to make sure her daughter wasn't forgotten.
Today we focused on Putin's political hostages.
Nadezhda kept in touch with Sonia in St. Petersburg, who stayed to support Sasha despite the risks.
How are you doing?
It's hard to be in Russia because I never feel completely safe, especially since the new law on LGBTQ people took effect. That brands Sasha and me as terrorists and extremists. Now in Russia, you can be put in prison for love. And for pacifism as well.
Sonia did what she could. She got hold of the special foods and medications Sasha needed but was denied in prison.
Sasha's rights are not respected. It's a way of putting her under pressure. On my last visit, they wouldn't even let me give her drinking water. And they never turn the light off in Sasha's cell, and it's always really loud.
Bullying, poor care, and even torture are commonplace in many Russian prisons. Sonia brought food for Sasha 3 times a week. She feared that Sasha wouldn't survive her sentence.
We were afraid that if Sasha had a heart attack, the prison doctor wouldn't get to her until it was too late.
An acquaintance shot this footage surreptitiously. It was a huge risk, given the military censorship now enforced in Russia. Sonia took the risk to share Sasha's story with the world.
This here is rice porridge. It cooks quickly.
But Sonia wasn't allowed to see Sasha that day.
We're definitely not counting on an early release. Unless the government is toppled.
But the unexpected happened. Sasha was allowed to leave Russia. Nadezhda and Sonia came to Koblenz, Germany, to meet her.
Every minute felt like a year. I was so desperate, it felt like my head would explode. But I told myself, no matter what happened, I had to survive.
Skochilenko was traded for Russian hitmen and spies. Her mother and Sonia's persistence ensured her name was included on the list of 15 political prisoners.
Without Sonia, I wouldn't have survived prison. What happened is a miracle. So miracles are possible.
Sasha is still struggling to regain her health. She's suffering post-traumatic stress disorder. Nature and art help her deal with the trauma. Now she intends to draw lots of pictures of her oppressive experiences in her home country as a free woman.
This was my first drawing. It shows our prisoner exchange. Now I have to relearn to live in freedom. I may have been set free, but the realization that I'm actually a free person hasn't sunk in yet.
I'm so happy they're letting us stay in Germany, and we don't have to go back to Russia. Now we're in a free country, and it's so incredible that we can go outside, and I can kiss Sasha without fear. It makes us so happy. We're planning to marry soon.
Sasha insists that in spite of all the hardships, she has no regrets. She'd do it all over again.